Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, while this was supposed to be a live webinar, due to some emergency, I've had a change of schedule. So I'm pre-recording this and sharing it with Nilesh, who will probably put it on the group so that you can go through my presentation. First of all, let me thank Nilesh for running this amazing network called as FMJPI, which all of us have been using for years now, whether it is for connecting, sharing, learning, even posting jobs, and this is across India. Additionally, this webinar series that he has started, I mean, it is giving us huge opportunities to connect with experts from our industry, facility management industry, and we get to learn so much there. So thank you, Nilesh, for inviting me and sharing, some bits about us. To start with the introductions, I'm Vineet Pandey. I'm one of the co-founders of Kaarya Group of Companies. We have a diverse service portfolio in the overall facility management industry. We have Kaarya Facilities, which is an IFM venture and which is also listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange SME platform. Then we have a project on demand and interior contracting business, which is called as HECO. And finally, we also have a technology venture that does a lot of automation tools for our industry, whether it is billing, payrolling, and procurement, and a host of productivity apps that we can use. Today's presentation is on facility management 2.0 and how do we navigate through this unprecedented crisis. And while we are constrained by time for this presentation, so I'll try and keep it short. Um, Overall, I have tried to structure my presentation into four distinct parts. As to first, let us understand what we are as facility management. What is the industry all about? Second, let's understand the nature of this crisis that we are going through right now. And third, what we can do, and that is the crux of this presentation, to counter this crisis. And finally, how we look at how the future is going to unfold. Firstly, let's understand what we are. What is this facility management industry all about? Very often, I come across people who somehow don't feel very proud about the industry that they come from, and I mean that attitude has to change. I mean that we need to not feel ashamed. In fact, we need to feel proud about where we come from during this crisis, especially. I mean, whether the government or so many authorities have congratulated us on the absolute essential nature of our business, and so much of services that we've been able to provide during this time. So just to rattle off some numbers, I think as an industry we are 4% of India's GDP. We are among the top five employers in India. There's almost more than 3 billion square feet of real estate that we are present in. Prior to this crisis, the industry has been delivering 25% plus CAGR over the years. So yeah, this is a huge industry, and it's present across the length and breadth of the country, right from the metros to tier two to tier three towns. I mean, if you just look at the sheer magnitude of the touch points we have, right from when you enter a premise, right from the security and guarding, the cleaning and hygiene, the engineering services, the food service, the administration support, you name it, and we are there everywhere. So yeah, I mean this is a big industry. We are quite entrenched into the economy, so to say. So whatever is the quantum of the crisis, we are not going anywhere. So let's first be assured of that. Second, let's try and understand what this crisis is all about. I mean, one, this is obviously completely unprecedented. What I would say this is, and we should look at it as a black swan event. I mean, an event that nobody could have planned for. I mean, this is something that was not expected. We had no scenario planning for that. I mean, these kind of events happen once, probably in 100 years. So, whatever you're going through is very unfortunate, and it should not put us back. Now, the nature of any black swan event is such that it destroys the status quo. Whatever you are used to is starts evaporating fast. So, and in such kind of a situation, there are only a few things that you can do. In fact, the entire science of crisis management for such events are not even written now. So we are all grappling with it together. If you try and in fact, I would advise that let's not overanalyze it. As a crisis, a lot of consultants, a lot of companies have started doing scenario planning, but I mean, we would be well advised to look at it as a linear situation. Now that we have tried and named this crisis, let us just see how it manifested itself. I mean, first there was a regulatory lockdown. And then there was this entire perception created, and which is in fact right also, of fear. I mean, so there's been a physical lockdown and there's been a mental lockdown. I mean, this COVID scare is not imaginary. I mean, it has fatal consequences. So, I mean, governments across the world have been doing the right thing, and because of that, uh, the entire the economic machinery has completely stopped. Our entire clientele, most of our entire clientele, is corporate in nature. I mean, if they are shut, then we are shut. And that situation is still ongoing. I mean, slowly organizations are opening up, but then there are limitations as to how many people can come, and because of that, the services that they consume, I mean, that is limited. So all of us are seeing our revenues completely evaporating. And I mean, and this is, and let's understand, this is a long haul. I mean, I said that let's look at it as a linear situation. I mean, if you think this is an x-axis, and point zero is where this scare is. I mean, its extreme is when we have some perfect solution to this, which is a vaccine, or otherwise. I mean, because of the viral nature of this disease, I mean, I don't see this being contained. So it's the worst case situation is today, and this is still evolving, and the best case scenario is when we have a vaccine and everybody is immunized. I personally am not a big fan of herd immunity. I mean, that is a strategy that we should not go for, because it still carries the risk, and the risks are fatal. And as entrepreneurs, I mean, while we like risk, we don't like stupid risk. So I mean, this situation is going to go on, and whatever we are used to is gone. Okay. And and as soon as we realize this, I mean, this is where we are heading to. If I talk about how to navigate this crisis, I mean, I don't want to sound very saintly. We are still a very young company. We are only 10-year old in this industry. So I mean, I would like to mention what we as a company did. I think we very quickly realized that the situation was getting out of hand, and I'm talking about early March and second week of March. And there was no precedence, so we didn't know how to act. But there were a few things that we immediately did, and our response to this crisis was again was structured along four paths. Okay. I mean, the first was the most important, and that was protect. And while the lockdown was not even initiated, we quickly moved to a work from home environment. and I mean, we shut our offices. I mean, unless it was really important. And thankfully, because we are a digitally conscious company, so we had the infrastructure to work from home. We had to protect all the resources. It was essential that as an organization, I mean, our value is in the people, and we did not want to take any risks there. So protect was our first response. Second, we all got together, and personally, I think I thought I still believe that this is a long haul. So our next strategy was preserve, and preserve was in terms of, we quickly looked at all our expenses that were unnecessary, and we just stopped them. And the entire idea was to, preserve our liquidity, have cash so that it can help us elongate our response to this crisis. Within Preserve, we also, quickly started talking to all our clients, and we realized that, if they don't have revenues, and it'll be hard for them to pay their bills. And so we had to, get on quick negotiations with them, just to ensure that, hundreds of people who work with us, at least their salaries need to be paid. A lot of organizations took a moral call, and even before wages was made mandatory, they took a call that they would be paying, salaries to, people working. Some agreed, some, had to be cajoled, some we had to negotiate, where, we said, while it is still very difficult for us, we said, let's take a hit in terms of our fees, but then, just ensure that our people get paid. So preserve was, was this that we did. And finally, like I said, this is an event where the status quo got destroyed, and we stepped back, and we said, and we said, let's just ponder. So our third strategy was ponder. Let's just think what we have as skills within the organization, the capabilities that we have, and how we can monetize this in this situation. And there's so many things that we do as an organization that that gets hidden when the times are good. But during these times, we realized that all the capability that we had to bring it out to the world, and that's what we did. The first thing that happened was we reorganized ourselves, and we reorganized ourselves in terms of capability units. So whether, even if it was a support function, whether it was like, you know uh, our ability to generate bills within 5 minutes, our ability to process payroll, our ability to procure at the cheapest rates. I mean, there were so many capabilities we had. Our capability to manage multidisciplinary functions within a premise or a residential complex. I mean, so we divided ourselves. We regrouped, and every function, we looked at how we could offer these services to the world. I mean, at that point in time, there was no demand, there was no consumer demand, and resultantly, there was no corporate demand. So it didn't work out immediately. But as the Unlock 1.0 phase began, I mean, as organizations started opening, outside of the metros, outside of Mumbai or other cities, and thankfully, because we had a presence and we have a national presence, so we got an opportunity to start offering these services. So yeah, that's what we did. We pondered, and then we pushed. I mean, in this kind of an event, whatever we were doing for ages would not survive, and we had to continuously look at change. I mean, whatever we could offer in terms of our capability, whatever our clients needed, we had to agree to that, or we had to propose such options to our clients. So, like I said, I mean, our strategy in terms of navigating through this crisis was first protect, preserve, ponder about our capabilities, and then push. I mean, while a lot of industries are going through a really bad time, there are still so many industries that are surviving. In fact, doing good. I mean, I'm talking about FMCG, foods, pharma, manufacturing, e-commerce, logistics. I mean, those companies are still functioning, and I mean, those are opportunities that we have. every capability that we have is a revenue line. That's how we have to look at it. And we start approaching these companies, talking to these companies and offering our services. I mean, the future still seems very uncertain, and while some organizations like us may have diverse capabilities, I also realize that a lot of organizations in our industry may be standalone specialist players, and for them, the impact has been quite huge. I mean, while it is quite easy to say that we'll start offering many more things than just what we are already doing. I mean, it's not so easy. To be able to build capabilities, takes years and years. And if you've not been doing something which the world currently requires, it's not easy to go there. There's already a lot of competition. I think in these situations, it is also advisable to collaborate. I mean, remember, as businesses, as employees, as entrepreneurs, I mean, we have relationships with our customers, and these are long, deep relationships. We have been working with them for years, and in whatever limited capacity they are open, we have to start talking to them and saying that, is there anything else that you need, is there anything else that we can provide, can you refer me to somebody who needs this. I mean, if you require this, I'll probably partner with some other company and get it to you. I mean, at least the some channel of economic activity goes on. So these kind of aspects we have to continuously keep looking. I think the key thing that I'm trying to say is, while we obviously need to be very careful about how we survive this term, also that it is a long haul, but at the same time this is going to end, and we have to just see through this phase. Today, to be able to predict what's going to happen in 12 months, 18 months, even 6 months is difficult. So I mean, if you think that this is, if you have to believe that this phase will end, and you have to transform into a sales machine. Whatever we've been used to till now, I mean, that outlook has to change, and we no longer can be comfortable. And whatever opportunity we see within our overall FM industry, we should be open to that. Their numbers recently have been quite encouraging in terms of GST collections. So I think Government of India released a figure yesterday that GST collections for June have been 90,000 crore plus. So that is picking up, which means that economic activity is building, which means that we'll slowly, sooner come out of this phase. And it's nowhere to 100% of what it was, say, 4 or 5 months back, but I think it's still picking up, so that's a positive sign. And yeah, so this has been my two bits about navigating through a crisis. And the key thing that I believe is to be able to map our capabilities, and we should all work as a lean and mean marketing machine. And I mean, that should help us sail through. If you have any questions, you can please write to me, and I'll be more than happy to respond to that. I'm again very sorry because this is a recorded presentation because of some emergency. I hope to probably do a live webinar very soon. And thanks again, Nilesh, for this opportunity. Best of luck. Best wishes.